Hello everyone and welcome to Ask the Kabbalist. With me as usual is Kabbalist Dr. Michael Leitman. Hello Rav Leitman. Before we'll begin our first question, I'll just remind you all that you can send questions through our Ask the Kabbalist page on tv.kabbalah.info, and you can go there to our Ask the Kabbalist page and ask your questions through video, audio or text, and you can do it in a very easy way there. So again, that's tv.kabbalah.info. And our first question today is coming from Chloe. It's a video question. She's from San Francisco. Let's hear it.
My name is Chloe, and I'm from San Francisco. And my question is, why is Kabbalah the right book with the answers over Buddhist, Sufi, and other esoteric texts that are out there that state that they have the answer and they have the explanation to why the world is the way it is and how to attain spirituality? What makes Kabbalah stand out amongst the others, and why?
The uniqueness of the wisdom of Kabbalah is its method. It is entirely based on a person having to transcend his nature. Not that one has to suppress one's nature, convincing oneself not to use the ordinary inclination towards eating, drinking, sleeping, and taking on different limitations in life. Correspondingly, it seems to one he becomes freer. By limiting and limiting oneself, not giving oneself what a person naturally needs. Kabbalah neither uses different meditations where a person enters a psychological exercise where he starts depicting different things and he's taking a stroll in his subconsciousness, as the psychologists explain. Here there is an entirely different kind of method based on a person lifting himself above his ego, meaning he does not suppress it, but he lifts himself above the ego. The ego is there, constantly growing, and a person keeps building himself above the ego. Thus it's called the method of Kabbalah, in Hebrew meaning reception, based on the desire to absorb more and more things and develop. It is a science including all the sciences of the world, using physics, chemistry, biology, all the natural sciences, and goes deeper in. Meaning our nature is the egoistic will to receive, and Kabbalah, as opposed to all the religions, faiths, and methods that wish to suppress our egoistic desire, our ego, the wisdom of Kabbalah says, no, you will not be able to suppress it, it will break out. You have to build your life atop the will to receive, to use it, and then you achieve the opening of new horizons, which is called the upper dimension. Thus, it is the most ancient method. We got it back in ancient Babylon. Also, it is a method that did not change for thousands of years, even though individuals engaged in it. And now that our world is reaching a state where the ego is boundlessly breaking out, comes this method in order to teach us how to correctly work with our ego, with our nature. A method unlike other religions and methods working against nature, but working with nature. How to use the great desire existing in nature.
I'm hearing that the central thing in Kabbalah, as you explain, is this act or new perception of rising above the ego, of not decreasing it but rising above it. What is there above the ego? What do you find there?
Precisely by using the ego. By using it, I turn my ego into a vessel, a place in which I discover everything, because I have nothing besides the ego. The only problem is, how do I use the ego? Either in order to draw everything into it, or in order to cancel it, or to use it in order to bestow onto others. These are the three options. Either I use it in order to pull everything for myself.
This is something we see clearly in the world today. Yeah.
Yes. Or I cancel it and I don't want it. I do this by different methods, religions, beliefs.
Like meditations, like
yes.
eating less, breathing less. Mm-hmm.
And truly, if I suppress the ego, then I feel less problems. I want to eat less, drink less, neither money nor honor nor control, then I feel more comfortable, easier. I lower myself from the degree of man that wants everything to the degree of an animal.
No, but you also gain spirituality like that. There are many people who said that through meditation...
It's not spirituality. As a result, I feel myself freer. First of all,
free of troubles.
There's a nice psychological phenomena here. And ordinarily, this is what the people who go to India and different other such places do, and also religions. They truly spread this thing, that it's preferable to want less, be more balanced, more modest, and so on, because then a person really feels himself more tranquil.
But it's not spirituality, you say?
No, it's not the spirituality that Kabbalah speaks about. And there is another method, which is a part of the wisdom of Kabbalah. It is to use the ego, but not in order to receive, not in order to cancel it, but to use it in order to give.
Sounds weird. The ego
sounds weird, exactly.
Is my desire to acquire everything, to get everything.
Very true. Instead of pulling and using it naturally, I as if go supernaturally, against my nature, where the entire cruelty, the will to receive, to enjoy, to control, the desire for honor, and so on, I use this entire desire in order to fulfill the other with those very same things.
Can you explain to me how someone who wants to be famous or wants to take control over someone else, how can he do it to do good to the others? It's unclear.
If I use the ego as I usually do, I can never fulfill myself. We can see that regardless of how much people want and receive and get more and more, it seemingly gives them ever greater deficiencies. As it says, a person dies achieving only half of what he wanted.
Yeah, we're never satisfied. It doesn't matter what we do. Today it's...
Yes. But if I start using my ego through a different method, and I'm not talking about altruists that naturally like doing it, they're about 10%, but I'm talking about a person who's a normal egoist, who wants all these things only for himself, everything that exists in the world, and he starts understanding now that it's preferable for him to use his ego in a different manner. Conversely, that there's some kind of a trick here, that there is a truly irrational action here, psychologically beautiful. It's like a psychological trigger. It's an inversion that if he starts referring towards others this way, a person achieves a feeling, an understanding, a vision, suddenly an entirely different dimension, suddenly opens up before him something which did not exist previously. Call it psychology, but it's the inversion of his ego, all that he had inside, all by which he wanted to fulfill himself, he poured it outwards, out of himself, and correspondingly he reveals, to the extent to which he is now trying to push it out against his inner natural inclination, he discovers that he starts feeling a reality which is outside of him, a new reality that previously did not belong to him at all.
It sounds like this whole change you're talking about doesn't necessarily manifest as good deeds, like giving something to someone, or, I don't know, giving money to help the needy, or handing out food, or giving to charity. It sounds like it's something that happens inside the person completely.
True. We needn't carry out any external actions. Maybe we can carry out these external actions, but inside your environment, inside a group, in something which is limited, where you will be aided to perform such exercises with respect to an environment that understands you. But not that now you start dispersing to the whole world that which you have, you start handing out your assets. It's not about that. We're talking about changing your nature from introverted to extroverted.
And when a person inverts his nature, as you're saying, you said that a new reality opens up to him. What is that new reality?
Yes. Then one starts truly feeling what is outside him, because previously he felt what's outside him only in the direction of how to enjoy it and use it on the inside. Now he's doing the very opposite, how to use oneself in order to serve and fulfill that which is outside him. And this psychological inversion, this opposite direction, it's really like a current that starts flowing in the other direction suddenly. And it opens up a new perspective to life, a new method to feel reality.
Okay, sounds interesting.
And that's the difference between our world and the spiritual world, and that's the difference between feeling oneself, living in the body or living in the soul, and that's the difference between feeling myself or feeling godliness. There is a very essential difference here.
And it's all inside the person, nothing that you can...
And all this is inside a person, and the trigger for it, the inversion, is something that we can do here and now, and then we transcend the feeling of life and death, because then I come out of myself and I start to truly feel that which is outside me, and that which I feel outside me is independent of my life and death. By doing so, I also transcend my animalistic existence, my body, and start feeling everything on the human level. It is an attitude which is outside the body.
This is what you call a soul?
Yes, and then correspondingly a person feels that he transcends death. It's very important.
Specifically about this life and death issue and rising above life or death, we have a question that relates to this, and it's from Deb from Nashville. It's a video question, so let's play it and continue on the same subject.
Okay, my question is about reincarnation. Is it that immediately when you die, does your soul go find another human body, or does it spend a few weeks? Or I know there's really no time in eternity, but what happens to the soul when you die? Does it just immediately go to another body, or does it wait a little while? Love to find the answer out to that.
It says, what you see is what you get. Whatever a person sees in this world is what he has. The body, it could be alive, could be dead. However, it comprises no partition between us and the spiritual world. It's my desire which creates the partition between me and the spiritual world. If my desire is aimed in my favor, I see and feel only what my body allows me to feel and see. If my desire is aimed outwards, the body does not stand in my way, and then I feel the spiritual world. This sensation is called the soul, and whatever is revealed inside the soul is called the upper world. And thus, we can do it now without dying or living. One has nothing to do with the other. Now, if my body passes away and I haven't attained yet any sense of the other spiritual world, the feeling of that which is outside me, let's call it the outer body experience, then I don't feel. Why? Because I don't have the vessels for it yet. I didn't prepare. I didn't make this inversion yet. As we said, our body, Our animalistic body, the animal level, it doesn't stand in my way. If I have not developed the human level inside myself, which means that I come out of myself outwards, I feel the extroverted reality which is outside me. Accordingly, neither do I get this feeling after this body passes away.
What do you mean? But every person has a soul, no? We know that every person has a...
No, if you don't develop it. A soul means the will to receive, your egoistic will to receive, that you start using in bestowal. If you didn't do it, you have no soul. You don't. You only have the ability to develop it like anyone else in the world. But that's it. And thus, the body, it passes away. And when it passes away, then this point, this kernel, like a spiritual drop of semen, in the meantime remains this way until you feel yourself born in a new body and once again develop like a baby, like a child.
It goes to another body, that drop of spirituality, drop of the beginning of the soul. It goes to some other body if I didn't develop it?
No, it doesn't pass on to any other body. It's not in the body at all. We, who exist in body, along with our bodily life, we get a kind of a sensation of the life of this drop, of the life of the beginning of the soul, from that point, from which we can develop. So the next time we come around, if we will not develop our soul this time, next time we'll have also an opportunity to develop it, of course, under other conditions. It's all corresponding to each and every one's
And
soul.
let's say I did develop it, and I have a soul. I developed this new perception and everything. What happens when I die? When my body dies?
If you've developed it, then you developed it. Your body, it doesn't stand in your way. You keep feeling life the way you did before the body passed away, because already back there you felt the spiritual life.
What's happening there? What, do I have a name there? Do I have a personality? What do you mean I lose my body? To me, and to most people, I guess, our bodies is our whole world, our whole reality, whole existence. So
that's the problem, that we feel as if everything exists in the body. We need that which exists outside me, not in my direction, but in the other direction. And that will be considered that I feel inside the soul. Whatever I feel by pulling inwards is called this world. Whatever I feel extroverted is called the upper world.
Let me ask like this. Can I see this world without having a body? If I don't have a body, and I have a soul?
No.
No?
No, because we're talking about vessels, abilities. Like, if I don't have eyes, can I see?
Right.
No. So I need eyes. The same. These are certain qualities through which I feel the reality called this world. I have to acquire such qualities now in which I will feel an additional reality called the upper world. The attributes through which I feel this world disappear. Then I stop sensing it.
And I feel just that other spiritual dimension.
I feel the spiritual dimension, and of course I also feel this dimension, but not the way I feel through our senses. I feel it through the spiritual dimension, because the upper degree includes all the lower degrees. Our degree, the degree of this world, is the lowest degree. And thus, I don't feel this world in terms of bodies, but in terms of forces, potentials that can grow. Being in the soul, I feel all the rest of the potentials and souls, whoever has already acquired a soul, whoever has not yet acquired a soul. I feel these things in terms of spiritual forces, and not their clothing, and the reality is in this world, which is the substantial volume.
So my perception right now is something that is not real, even. It's
not real. Non-real because towards spirituality, this entire reality which stems from the will to receive for oneself, does not exist. But we were given an opportunity, the ability to depict for ourselves what does the will to receive for oneself mean, so that from it we can constantly increase our will to bestow, the desire to come out of ourselves. But in truth, this reality does not exist because the upper light, power of bestowal, the general force of bestowal, encompasses all of reality.
This upper light, this is what we call the Creator.
Yes.
It's the same force? Okay. Should we move on to some other topic, maybe?
Please.
Okay.
It's all in your hands.
We have a question from Nina from Los Angeles. It's an audio question, and let's hear it.
Oh, hi. Good afternoon. My name is Nina. I'm calling from Los Angeles, California, and I have a question for the Kabbalist. Does Kabbalah have anything to do with the Bible, particularly the Old Testament? Because I come from a Christian background, and it seems to me that it's related to the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, or maybe the Torah. This is something I was often told, in the past, has some connection with it. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
We learn that the wisdom of Kabbalah originated in ancient Babylon. They had the very same problem in ancient Babylon as we have now in our world. A great, tremendous, egoistic will to receive broke out among everyone, and people started hating each other, even though previously they were as one people, and then they wanted to build a tower of pride up to the heavens. And because of the pride, because of the ego, they stopped understanding each other, and then this one wise person, which lived among them, he was their priest. He was a Babylonian priest. He engaged in different astrological methods and so on. And he started researching nature, and he found out that all of this is happening because their ego broke out. The ego of the people which he tended for as one of their priests. And when he started researching it, he found out that our ego is revealed in order to make us bond, the very opposite. And thus he revealed the wisdom of Kabbalah.
So what is the Bible and the Old Testament and all those other writings?
Then he wrote the first book in the wisdom of Kabbalah, which is called the Book of Creation. After him, there were several generations up to Moses, which was a Kabbalist of great intensity. After Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he was the next Kabbalist. And he wrote the next book in the wisdom of Kabbalah, which is called the Torah. Torah comes from the Hebrew word O, light, and Hoa, instructions. How, by using our ego, we come out into our opposite. That's actually the Torah of Moses. And after Moses, many prophets wrote, like Solomon, David wrote the Psalms, and so on. Also, great Kabbalists who performed these actions, these corrections upon themselves. Each one revealed his soul, and they revealed phenomena inside the soul, and they wrote about that phenomena, and as a result we have all those books which we call the holy books. Holy, kadosh, in Hebrew means separate, distinct. Distinct, it means that I feel not which is inside me, but I differ. I come out of myself and feel that which is outside of me, and that's where the word holy, distinct, comes from. And therefore all the holy books, and especially the Torah, these are books written by Kabbalists out of this upper feeling.
So everything originated from those Kabbalists who had a new perception of reality, and they wrote those books, and we just don't know how to read them properly. Yeah, we
True, yes, because in order to understand what they wrote, we have to have the same attributes. We have to be born into that very state, enter that same state as they were in, that extroverted sensation, and then to the extent to which I'm in it, I could understand to a certain extent what they did.
Okay, let's hope we all try to do it. So we have to conclude at this point. I want to thank you very much, Rav Lightman. And thank you, everyone, for being with us. You can send more questions through tv.kabbalah.info, and we'll see you on the next show. Thank you.